Matters. This show is designed to provide people with tips, strategies, and solutions to improve your mental fitness. This is Mental Fitness Matters. Hey, happy Thursday, everybody. You are listening to Mental Fitness Matters. I am your host, Tracy Alston, and this is WSIC Radio. Happy Thursday. I hope you guys out there are having a great week. I am super excited today that my co-host for today's show, Miss Erica Singleton, she's going to join me. She is the Director of Communications for Players Beyond the Game. Good morning, Erica. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning. I'm outstanding. And yes, a professional beyond the game. We really work on trying to get players, athletes, specifically those coming out of college, really prepared for that next level, that next transition. So I am great and so happy to be here again, another third Thursday together.
Another third Thursday together. And for those of you tuning in for the very first time, this is the Mental Fitness Matters Show. And this show is designed to provide you with tips, strategies, and solutions to improve your mental health and mental fitness. This show is on podcast. So if you are a podcast listener, feel free to download the Mental Fitness Matters podcast so you can catch up all the shows there. We're also on YouTube, tracyalston.com, so you never miss the show. And as we just mentioned, last month, I teamed up with Professionals Beyond the Game, which is an amazing nonprofit organization whose mission is to further the conversations, raise awareness, and help create resources to support the well-being and mental health of former collegiate athletes beyond their sport. Okay, and together we have created the Shine Bright Athlete Series. And this series will be held every third Thursday of the month. You can go back and check out the one we had last month. But tune in every third Thursday of the month. We're going to have guests on that will be connected to athletics and sports in one way or another. They're leaders in their field. They're going to be sharing their knowledge, their expertise, and their resources with our community. So we are so excited about this series. Erica, before we introduce our guests for today, tell our audience why Professionals Beyond the Game is so necessary right now more than ever.
You know, specifically for the athletes that we're looking and working to serve, transitions are a time of insecurity, of imbalance, and you move, especially for those who have gotten to know their sports so very well. You are moving from the known to the unknown. Everything about your life is changing. Everything about the foundation, the community that you built is changing. And a lot of times, the people who have been working with these athletes and benefiting from their sweat equity are not the people who have prepared them for that next transition. They've gotten the most that they could out of them, and that next step is theirs on their own. And so that is where we come in. You know, so many different systems have that transitionary process built in. You know, there is a way to come out of the military. There is a way to onboard into the corporate world and to leave offboard for retirement. But that's not always prepared for an athlete to offboard from the team that has served them into a new community. And so that's what we really want and are working towards preparing athletes for. And really in this day and age, so much is uncertain, period.
Right.
But this information, this community is really good for anyone.
I love that. And I heard you mention the word transition several times throughout that. And I think we can all agree everyone is going through some type of transition right about now. And the importance of surrounding yourself with a great team, a good community, people that can help you focus forward. And our guest for today is pretty incredible. I cannot wait to introduce you guys to him. His bio is phenomenal. He's somebody who's transitioned beyond sports into life and is making a huge impact. We have Mr. Pierre Wooten. He's the founder and CEO of Premier Christian Events, and he's a two-time Hall of Fame inductee, former professional basketball player. Pierre was one of the players chosen in the NBA inaugural open tryouts with the Denver Nuggets out of over 500 aspiring players. Pierre is the epitome of overcoming obstacles through faith, proper strategy planning, execution, coupled with tireless work ethic in business and in life. He has achieved national and international recognition as an author, card game inventor, and a sought-after speaker for various events such as the Great Homeschool Convention. Pierre was born in Memphis, Tennessee. He grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, and currently lives in Charlotte, North Carolina with his wife, Lauren, and 3 children. Pierre earned his undergraduate and MBA from Winthrop University. Welcome to the show, Pierre. We are so honored to have you on this morning. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic, Tracy and Erica. Thank you so much for having me. And I'd like to start off by just saying I would be remiss to not acknowledge everyone with breast cancer awareness this month and everything. That's why I have my pink on. So I hopefully they say real men wear pink. But so
yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. We like to kind of start off, especially with this athlete series, we like to kind of tap into the mind to figure out what would you consider as mental fitness? What does it mean to you? And what are you doing currently right now to stay mentally fit?
Absolutely. I mean, it kind of boils down to three things for me, and there's a lot of layers, but one is thinking, dreaming, and taking action. Essentially, I challenge myself every single day. And I think if we're fortunate enough to challenge each other and yourself every day or every week or every month or every quarter, you're going to do some very, very good things. So one thing that I've kind of picked up during this quarantine is cycling. So I've been trying to reach this century mark of 100 miles, and I've gotten to 85 miles.
Wow.
Which is you're just stretching yourself to a whole nother level, just putting yourself in that environment.
That is awesome. Thinking, dreaming, and taking action. I love that. I'm going to take that with me as well. I like that. That's a strong mentality. Pierre, your background, can you tell us a little bit, what are some of the challenges that you've kind of faced throughout, whether it's kind of going through your athletic career, but now as you've transitioned into where you are, what are some of those challenges that you faced? And also, what are some of those keys that have allowed you to transition?
Yeah, so challenges for everybody is what are you going to do when you finish playing football, basketball, you're finished, even if you have someone that's been working in a particular field for 40 years or so, what are you going to do? And it's like, man, I got to figure it out. And the challenge for me has making sure that I continue to strive. And I don't really take it as a challenge. I just take it as this is my normal thing. So I don't want to seem like I don't have challenges. We do. But I can really go more on the keys. There's a simple quote that I learned from a guy a long time ago. He says, the key to success is the same. Remember this. He said, remember the same people that you meet going up are the same people you're going to meet coming down.
Yeah.
So make sure they have a smiling face, that they have a handout, that they're willing to help you out, because, again, those challenges will come, and you want to make sure that people are there to actually help you out. So.
Tracy, I wanted to jump in for a second.
Yes.
Pierre and I have come full circle. So we met at Winthrop University, and I was one of the journalists covering the new athletes coming in. And at the very beginning, we did Meet the Eagle with Pierre. And I wanted to ask him, the anxiety, the worry, the transition of going from being a high school leader to coming into a college program, being expected to be the new point guard, to be the new leader. And then where you are today, like, what did you learn there as far as managing your anxieties, if there were any, and really kind of staying mentally tough in the face, because you didn't know what that team was going to be like and how they were going to really respond to you.
Right. Absolutely. Well, the one thing, and you guys both know this, whatever environment you go in, you have to work extremely hard. Nothing's given. And I have that mindset. And part of that mindset is I'm a man of all these different quotes. And I'll share a couple quotes here shortly. But one thing that I did is to alleviate that. And I've always found out from a mental perspective, if I'm not prepared, that's when I'm the most nervous. So I try to alleviate any of that anxiety, any discomfort by just being myself. I tell people all the time, being you is more than enough. You don't have to be anybody else, because it takes a lot more hard work. And there's a proverb that says, as a man thinketh, so is he, right? So that's one thing that I always think about. And one of my favorite quotes is Henry Ford. It says, whether you think you're right or wrong, you're right. Yeah. And so I would like to think right about myself and think, again, it all starts with the mind. So some things and tips that I did to transition from high school to college. And I never thought that I was bigger or better or took myself too serious. I just took my craft very serious. And I think that's a very unique difference, because people say, don't take it too serious. And I'm like, no, you need to be obsessed with what you want to obtain. And that's something that I took very, very much pride in, but I didn't take myself too serious.
I love that. And you mentioned preparation being key and really kind of being yourself and being able to kind of have that confidence. What do we say to our youth? Because a lot of times that is such a pivotal age, right? Going into high school, into college, trying to identify who you are from a developmental standpoint. Everybody's in this kind of awkward stage. What kinds of things, when you talk about mental preparation and being prepared mentally, how did you prepare yourself to be okay, number one, with who you are and were during that time? How did you allow yourself to know that you were okay being you and having the confidence to move through college and on to the next level?
You know what? That was actually a challenge starting out, because as a man of faith, I was like, man, how can I be mean on the court but what's the difference? Mm-hmm. And I realized that Jesus was a lion, and he was both sides. So I was able to debunk that and say, hey, this is me on the court, but when I get off the court, I'm able to be who I am. But one thing that I would share with every youth is stay off of social media sometimes, because there's this comparison game that they start linking themselves up and say, hey, Eric has been journaling for 20 some years and we're trying to hold their standards. So this comparison game is the first thing, is understanding you don't need to be who that person is, but you can learn from them. And a lot of times they say, well, I need mentors. So look, here's the biggest key that I can take away from a mentor is for all of the youth is your mentor, you don't have to talk to them. And what I mean by that is you have the internet for that. You can listen to podcasts like Tracy. She has a lot of great things. You can listen to a lot of different people and get the insight, because you can give somebody $1,000 or give $1 million. But guess what? I'd rather learn how someone thinks, because now if you learn how they think, you can translate that into your environment and your basically into your success.
Dropping nuggets after nuggets after nuggets. I love that, because what you just described there is you're taking in information. So being mindful, how do we consume information? Because if you are on social media, really doing that comparison game, if you're taking in podcasts, those types of outlets and that auditory information allows you to pick apart what fits for me. Right?
That's right.
What fits for me. And so being able to know and identify, yeah, some of what they said might work, but the other pieces I can kind of leave off to the side. And so I think that's a really helpful tool there, especially for our youth and everybody that's coming up in this place where social media is just so loud right now.
That's right. That's right. And one thing that I do from social media, just a small little tip, is I put it inside of another folder. So now I have to consciously go inside of another folder in order to get it, because when you open your phone up, you see Facebook, you see Instagram, you see all these other social medias, and it's so easy just to hit. But when you got to hit inside of a folder to get inside another folder, it really makes you think, like, is this going to be the best use of my time? And part of also, I like to add, everyone knows that I'm a man of faith and I believe in God, and that has been my power, my strength. And another key of success that I think has really helped me out is visualization. A lot of people say, well, as a man thinketh, if you sow and you reap, all these different things like that. But I really found out, I had a coach in high school, Coach Cal, said, you have to visualize yourself doing these things. So if you can visualize yourself doing it, if I can see it, if I can conceive it, now I can actually achieve it. Yes. So those are the things that you have to really take time outside of social media, outside of everything else, and say, hey, let me visualize and see where I want to be, because that will direct a lot of your thoughts and also your actions as well.
So much power in that. So much power in that. Erica, I think you were about to say something.
I was going to just kind of add on to what Pierre was saying about the importance of knowing social media's place. But one of the things that he really said that's so important, we asked about for the young people, but even for someone my age in transition, so many things have changed. Finding a mentor is still important, even at every transition in your life, and also really weeding out what is important and what is useful from social media. There are a lot of people in their late 30s, early 40s, late 40s, who are looking at other people in their age group and being overwhelmed by where they think they should be based on that. And so that information that Pierre shared is great for that transitioning person at any age. And then also really paying attention to what voices you're absorbing from social media. Is it helpful to you, or is it creating more anxiety and more issues in your transition? Like, you're prepared for your life, and that's what's important.
Right. And if I can just add one other thing on that, Tracy, is not only, finding those mentors, but serve. My heart is to serve. And the more you serve, the word says that he who refreshes will be refreshed. Yes. So it's amazing how, like, when you refresh someone else, that you'll be refreshed. And that has really been a key, because I've been refreshed by people, even when I didn't think I needed to be refreshed. But guess what? That's that whole sowing and reaping. But most people think sowing and reaping is just about money.
Right.
It's just getting things. But it's actually about actually sowing something that you may need when you don't even know you need it.
That's so good. And there's so much power in that. You just led me right into the next part of what I want to talk about, and the power in community, and the power in surrounding yourself with people that are supporting and just on the same mission as you, and just trying to make an impact in a positive way. There's so much power in that energy. And so as you talk about being refreshed, like minds coming together, really pushing things forward is a powerful thing. How would you say, how important is surrounding yourself with a good team and community right now? How important is that as you walk through your life?
Oh, man, that is, I'm about to pull a quote from my good brother, Marcus. He says, your network will show you your net worth. So I tell you right now, it's so important. And part of that those mentors, part of serving as well, is having different perspectives. Because I think also as a community, as we continue to move forward, if you have the same people saying the same things, then you're not really stretching your mind. Right. You're hearing this one thing, one track mind. Hey, I'm only going to listen to Erica. Hey, Erica's fantastic. Tracy's fantastic. But Tracy may have somebody else that she can lean on that may have a different perspective, which also stretches the mind as well. So those are the things that as a community, we really have to just come together. And I think about these times that we're in right now, and how I really think we've lost the salt. So if I can say it in this way, we need some salty people to bring the salt back to life and be the light for us. And we're talking about the shine bright side of it. We have to be the light for a lot of people, because if not, things are only going to go down, and people are struggling in transition, out of transition, just in general. But you have to make sure that you are working together and having a great group of people that can hold you accountable.
Yeah.
That is holding you accountable.
Pierre, you have worked in the community, in every community that you have been a part of. And so really talk about how that helps you individually and then collectively, and really how that kind of impression for your kids is helping them maybe stay grounded in a time of uncertainty.
Oh, man. So Second Harvest Food Bank, I just thought about, we got a chance to go there and serve. So things like that, working in the community, it literally makes deposits into other people's lives. But I had the saying again, I have all these different quotes. You have to make deposits in order to make withdrawals. And a lot of times people associate deposits and withdrawals with what? Money. But when you make deposits in other people's lives, again, that's that whole soul reaping, where you don't even know what's going on, whether you get it or not. My kids are going to see, man, I'm supposed to serve. I'm supposed to think highly of other people as well, and not try to, take myself too serious and all those things. So I think that's vital to staying in the community, to serving, I would say my biggest success, or whatever you want to call it, in basketball. People say, well, what's your number one key? And they'll say, well, speed or leadership. And now I say my availability to do what God wants me to do, whenever he wants to do it, wherever he wants me to do it. Because now I've been able to serve other people. And I really think it really has a lasting impact on more than just the people you're serving, but also everybody that's watching. Because guess what? Everybody's always watching. Yeah. Somebody's always watching, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah. And as you're describing that, being that open vessel, open to opportunity, open to change, open to being flexible, I think we have to all do that. And I think especially now with all the things that are going on, you have to open your mind up to more, because the thing that you think that you're supposed to be doing forever may change. Right. And so having to have that mindset of being open. I love how you just said that. being open and available to do whatever's necessary.
Yeah.
And if we can come
That's right.
together as a community to do that and using our gifts and talents in the ways that work for us, but also it benefits the larger, right? How can we
That's right.
be of service? I'm very curious. I always think about, especially when you play basketball, when you're picking your squad or you're picking your team, I'm curious, how would you build your squad based on characteristics, right? So if you had to pick characteristics, the top five characteristics of the people that you want on your squad, what would you say? And I'm also interested, Erica, to hear what your response would be. What's your squad like?
My squad would be trust, number one. That is one. I would say trust, a communicator, someone like Erica.
Yeah.
To be able to communicate. I'll say trust, communicating. You have to have somebody that will outwork everybody. And then you must have someone that is speaking specifically like a specialist. So a specialist in whatever area you need, like Tracy. I know she's a specialist in defense as well. And then the fifth one I would say is just a passion. A passion is something that you cannot replace. It's irreplaceable. So those are my five.
Love it. Love it. What you got, Erica?
I of course, I was going to go with the communicator. That's really important. I think also someone with vision. Definitely, you need to have somebody who can see beyond what everybody else is looking at and see the bigger picture. I think it's also really important to have someone who is, for lack of a better term, is the junkyard dog. Like the person who can pick up everything and be willing to work in the muck more so than anyone else and really turn what looks like trash into treasure. And then I think you also need somebody who is a developer, somebody who helps develop everyone into better versions of who they are. And so even on the court, someone who is developing the process, improving what's going on. And last, but definitely not least, within that leadership role, within having that developer as well, you need an executor, somebody, and that's also, I think, where the passion comes from, somebody who makes sure that everything always happens and has the drive to really get it done.
That's a squad right there. You know, I think we got to start to look at our lives like that, look at our circles like that, look at ourselves like that, especially when we think about, and there's some youth listening right now, as you're picking and choosing and selecting who you're hanging around with, the communities you're going into, it's not just about what somebody has on a physical appearance or what they're wearing or what they're driving. Start to look at the characteristics of people. Who do you want to surround yourself? You want an executor. You want somebody you can trust. You want a communicator. You want somebody that when there's a crisis, right, or when the game's on the line, guys, we're going into the fourth quarter of 2020. We still got time here. The game is not over. You want to make sure you have people on your team who are thinking ahead. They're visionaries. They're seeing beyond today. And they're positive and they're encouraging and they're supportive in ways that you might not have ever had before. So I think that's really important. Thank you guys for sharing that. I think that's a great squad. I want to be on your team. Oh, guess what? I am on your team. I am on your team. We are creating a team and a community that's making an impact. Pierre, let us know how people can reach you and connect with you. We have about 2 minutes left. We want to make sure people can get a hold of you and continue to follow all the good stuff that you're doing, buddy.
Yep, absolutely. So, on Facebook, our organization is Premier Christian Events. I think if you type it in, it's Premier Christian Events, Inc. And also our website is premierchristianevents.org or .com. And just follow me on Facebook. I don't really use Instagram a lot, but I am on Facebook. And if you really want to connect, I'm on LinkedIn, and I would love to share, help out, serve, however I can do. And my last final thought, I guess, if I can say, is just I really thought about Kobe and all the things that's been going on in my life. Be an unresponsible dreamer. And if you do that, it will open your mind up, but it also will make you take actions that nobody else would take.
Love it. We appreciate you. Erica, anything else? We got about 30 seconds left.
Yeah, and being prepared, we launched June 20th. We picked that date specifically because it's right after Juneteenth. If you look at a date where people were ill prepared, that's a great one to look at. They were told that they were free and given nothing else. And so we picked the 20th specifically to help people be prepared. We are preparing for our next Shine Bright Summit events. We want to celebrate anti-racism. We want to celebrate Black talent. We want to emphasize the importance of creating safe and healthy transitions.
Thank y'all so much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I want my Mental Fitness Matters community to go out and shine bright like the stars that you are. See you next week.